I've been reflecting quite a lot recently on what I've done differently for the past 4 years that has helped me get to where I am today now that I am a full-time lettering artist. And let me tell you, the transformation wasn't about working harder or having some special talents. It was all about making small intentional changes that completely shifted the way I approach work. But first, let me give you a bit more context. I started freelancing in 2013 as a graphic designer. I loved my job until I became stuck in a cycle of taking on small jobs, trying to do as much work as possible, but always feeling exhausted, always doing more work and never really increasing my income. But in 2020, I was able to finally pivot to full-time lettering, doing what I love the most, earning way more, and that completely changed the game for me. I now can choose all of the projects I want to work on. I never worry about making ends meet because I know I'm always making passive income, and most importantly, I am excited to get to work every day. And that's exactly why I wanted to make this video, to share some simple yet very effective steps that anyone can take today to achieve their freelance goals like I did. Particularly if you're dreaming of becoming a freelancer and you don't really know how, or maybe you've been freelancing for a while and like me 6 years ago, you feel like you're not working on the right projects, or you wish you could work more efficiently and achieve more. What I'm about to share with you in this video is life-changing, in my opinion. I'm going to share with you the 5 simple tricks that help me stop making excuses, work smarter, and achieve all of those bigger goals that I set myself to achieve, like creating my very first online course or speaking at conferences. And trust me, these actionable tips will help you set the right goals and actually stick to them. So make sure to keep watching. And spoiler alert, it's not about doing all of the things, it's about doing the right things. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Aurélie, a lettering artist from the Gold Coast in Australia. And if you're anything like me, 2025 is also your year to crush some big goals and make those lettering dreams a reality without necessarily working harder or burning out. Now, this one might seem pretty obvious, but one of the very first steps to achieving your goals is to start with a clear idea of what you're trying to achieve. This is when you can dream big and visualize what you want for your creative life in 2025. Do you want to, I don't know, maybe land more mural projects? Do you want to start selling digital products? Do you want to design book covers? Maybe you want to speak at your very first conference. Whatever that might be, you want to either write those ideas down or create like a mood board or a vision board to bring those dreams to life. Just remember that while those goals can be quite big, you want to make sure they are somewhat achievable. Anything too unrealistic might keep you stuck. Now, having all of those goals written down or clearly visible on a vision board will allow you to align all of your actions with the ultimate vision. So whenever you're unsure whether to take on a particular project, for example, or what steps to take next, you can always go back to your board and refocus. So having clear goals helps you stay centered when things start going in different directions. So let me use myself and this video as an example. One of my 2025 goals is to create a new online course for creatives who want to become professionals and earn an income from their skills. And this video in particular is perfectly targeted at this specific audience. By the way, if that sounds like you, feel free to drop me a pencil emoji in the description so I know that you're watching. And that's the reason why I am working on this video at the very beginning of the year, because this video resonates with my audience, it aligns with my vision. I know it can be at the top of my to-do list. And here's another pro tip: whatever your freelancing goals are, whether it's finding new clients or selling digital products, you should always define who your target audience is. Understanding your target audience is crucial because it helps you create content that resonates, it helps you develop services that solve real problems, and most importantly, it attracts the right kind of opportunities, the ones that will align with your vision. Just like I'm focusing on helping creatives who want to make an income from their passion, you need to be crystal clear about who you're targeting always. And this clarity will make every other decision, from pricing to marketing to which project to work on, so much easier. Now I want you to go ahead and find 5 to 10 inspiring images, quotes, or sketches, or whatever that might be, that reflect your 2025 goals and vision, and you're going to arrange them on a vision board, whether it's physical or digital. The idea is that you put everything in one place so you can see it. Now, if you're worried that your goals are too big, or you're worried that you might change your mind later on, remember that goals are meant to be flexible. It's completely normal to adjust your goals as you grow and as you learn. So start with what feels achievable now and give yourself permission to refine or pivot your goals as you gain more clarity. What matters the most is taking the first step. Okay, so now that we've emphasized the importance of setting clear and achievable goals, it's time to break them down into smaller tasks. Again, it might be something that you've heard many times before, but that's because it works. Breaking down your bigger goals into smaller, manageable tasks is a proven strategy that helps reduce the overwhelm and increases your chances of success. So when you divide your large goal into bite-sized pieces, your brain starts to perceive each small task as more achievable, making you more likely to take action. So when facing a big goal, the key is to start small and build momentum gradually. And I've found that checking off even the tiniest task creates a positive feedback loop that keeps you motivated. And here's also a mindset shift that really changed everything for me. Instead of getting overwhelmed by endless to-do lists, because let's face it, there will always be more things to do, you want to focus on celebrating each small win. So remember, it's not about finishing everything in one day, but it's about making consistent progress. So why not make the journey enjoyable? I actually love to romanticize my work session, turning them into special moments rather than just trying to complete the task at hand. So here's an example from real life. A dream project of mine is to actually write a book. And when I think of this project, let me tell you, I totally freak out. Like, where do you even begin with such a big project? So here's my plan. I will break down that goal into smaller achievable tasks. So first I'll do research, looking at my option. Then I will map out the chapters, which is way less scary to think about. And then I'll try to tackle one chapter per month, which, by the way, I can also break down into smaller tasks. But anyway, you get the idea. I will break down everything so that it feels much more manageable. And every time I will start working on this project, which will feel very difficult, I will try to remind myself I get to work on this project instead of thinking things like, oh, I have to work on this. Now, here's what I want you to do. You're going to take your biggest goal and you're going to divide it into monthly milestones. And then you're going to see if you can actually create a weekly task breakdown of each of those monthly milestones. So you're going to break down the goal into monthly goals and then those monthly goals into weekly goals. Now, if you're not too sure how to break down your task into smaller goals, you're going to start by listing absolutely all of the components of your goal, no matter how messy it gets. And I want you to not worry about getting the breakdown perfect on the first try, because you can always adjust and refine your task list as you go. So for instance, it might be that you start breaking down how to create an online course. So it's going to go something like the broad steps, like planning, recording, editing. And then as you start working on it, you'll automatically discover smaller subtasks that you can add. And then as you work, you'll naturally discover smaller subtasks that you can add to your breakdown. And the key is to start somewhere and remain flexible. Now, let's get real. If there's one thing that will transform your year, it's this. Start with the hardest thing first. What project have you been avoiding? What is the thing that you're scared to try? You want to try and tackle it first thing in your day or in your week. Why? Because the hard stuff is usually the stuff that hinders you the most. And once you've done it, you'll feel unstoppable. And oftentimes you'll discover that it wasn't even that difficult or that bad. And this method is also called the Eat the Frog method. You might have heard of it. You know, that one task on your to-do list that you don't want to do, that you keep pushing off. You know exactly the one I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure. Well, that's your frog. So instead of avoiding that big scary task, you want to try and tackle it first thing in the morning when your brain is fresh. And it's usually something that's important but not super urgent, that will take you 1 to 2 hour max to complete, and it definitely makes you want to procrastinate. This method works because you get the worst part of your day over with early, and if you use your morning brain power, you can focus better since you're not multitasking and you're just focusing on that one thing. And let me use myself again as an example, and this video in particular. When making a new YouTube video, I know that for me, the most difficult task is always to work on the script and the content, the things that I'm going to talk about in the video. That's why I always try and tackle that part in the morning when my mind is fresh. I also practice intermittent fasting. So in the morning, I'm not eating, which means I have all of my morning brain power. So I like to usually block out 1 to 2 hours. I make myself a cup of coffee and I focus solely on writing, on doing the task I don't want to do. And by doing this, I've noticed that what used to take me days now only takes a few hours. And here's another little trick that's been a total game changer for me. It's the Pomodoro technique. So you might have heard of it as well. It's super simple. You actually work for 25 minutes straight and then you take a 5-minute break. And I know it might sound super basic, but trust me, it works like magic when you can't find the motivation to do the work, to get any work done, particularly when you're trying to eat your frog. But this method is super effective. You can actually find so many Pomodoro timer apps online. I personally like to use YouTube videos, so I just type "Write with me Pomodoro video" on YouTube and you'll find plenty. So try it and let me know if that works for you. Now, your next action step is to write down one hard thing that you've been avoiding and schedule time for it during your most focused hours of the day. Now, if you're worried about tackling the biggest challenge first thing, again, remember to start small, break down the challenging task into even smaller components if needed, and it will make it feel way more approachable and it will still address it first thing in your peak hours, and that's what you want. Now, I know that choosing your goals and deciding what to focus on can be extremely difficult. Sometimes you don't know where you're headed, you don't know what to prioritize in your work, and nobody really can give you any kind of guidance for what to do on a day-to-day basis. You have to find your own path. And for me personally, that meant years of exploration. I knew I wanted to be a creative and design for a living, but I wasn't sure exactly how and what that would look like. In fact, I actually started studying a Bachelor of English first, then I switched to a Bachelor of Digital Media, and then I tried everything from freelancing to agency work, creating posters and logos for local businesses here on the Gold Coast. I even taught typography at university, and through it all, I was still trying to do lettering on the side, but I really struggled to find time for personal work. But the point of my story is that I spent a decade building expertise in graphic design and teaching, and I learned crucial skills like working under pressure, client communication, creating impactful designs. Plus, I gained experience in teaching typography and lettering with my university students. All of this time, slowly, brick by brick, I was developing valuable skills without even realizing it. In fact, when you're serious about developing your craft, there comes a point where opportunities naturally open up. Because the more you progress, the better you get at what you do, the more opportunities will open up. And whether it's starting your own business or landing your dream project, you'll be ready because you've built that foundation. And during this journey of skill accumulation, you might question whether or not your efforts will pay off. And the truth is, you won't know immediately, and that's totally okay. And it's only when you look back that you see that each skill and experience connected to something meaningful. And this is why prioritizing learning and creation is so crucial. You're building the foundation for opportunities that you can't even imagine just yet. And the beauty of this approach is that every skill you develop, absolutely all of them, become a building block for your future success, even if you can't see exactly how it will fit into the bigger picture right now. So I really think that your focus in the very first years should always be on producing more content and learning as much as possible, with potentially a reassessment maybe at the end of each year to determine what worked and what didn't. In other words, you just want to never stop learning. Now, I want you to see if you can set dedicated time each month for content creation and skill development. So it could be setting time aside to participate in a challenge, or sketching more, taking on a new class, or maybe trying to create something in a completely different style that you've never done before. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by trying to balance multiple skills and types of work while trying to find your own path, remember that skill development is a never-ending process. So simply focus on one area at a time and trust that each experience contributes to your foundation. As I mentioned earlier, what I've learned is that every job, every experience, anything that you do and learn, whether it's teaching or working at a design agency, anything can help you succeed in the future, even if it doesn't seem related at first. And the last thing that I think is crucial in long-term success as a freelancer is to track your progress. So here's the thing about tracking progress. It's not just about keeping tabs on your goals and seeing all the things that you have ticked off your list. It's about celebrating how far you've come on your creative journey and being able to assess your progress. Because when you look back at your work from months ago, you'll be amazed at your own growth. And trust me, this perspective is crucial because creative growth, like I said, is a never-ending process. And sometimes also it can be very difficult to see any significant changes. And if you're not tracking your progress, you're going to be missing out on seeing your own evolution. And I like to use my digital planner to track my progress consistently because it helps me celebrate every win, no matter how small. And I know that everything is all in one place and I can see all the things that I have achieved over the months, and I also know what I need to do every day. And if you know me, you know I'm a huge Notion fan. So I also like to keep all of my numbers in Notion. I like to keep track of all of the things I post on social media. I know exactly what I posted on each day. I like to write all of my to-do list, all of my tasks, both in my planner and in Notion. And in Notion as well, I like to keep track of all of the numbers, whether it's financial or social media related, so that every year I can look at either how much I made the previous year or either how many new people I have in my newsletter, for example. And of course, always remember there will always be more skills to master, more things to learn, more goals to achieve. And that's the beauty of creativity and being a freelancer. It's never ending. So instead of really getting overwhelmed by this endless possibility, by those to-do lists and those incredible goals that feel so hard to achieve, I want you to instead focus on enjoying the journey and make 2025 your year of consistent progress. Keeping in mind always that it's not about perfection, it's about showing up. Finally, the last thing I want to encourage you to do is create a yearly progress gallery, adding pictures of your work, for example, and writing down all of the relevant numbers as of the start of 2025. So for example, you could write your follower counts, you could write your earnings for 2024. So that way, by the end of 2025, you can visually track your creative evolution, and you can also look how far you've come and if you've made any progress. And if you don't see enough progress to make your tracking worthwhile, please remember that creative growth is a never-ending process. I know I've already said that, but you want to focus on maintaining consistency over anything else. So it's about staying consistent rather than seeking quick results. And that's it. We've covered a lot of ground today. I've given you lots of my favorite tips, from setting clear goals to breaking them down into smaller bite-sized pieces to tackling those scary tasks first thing in the morning. I think that now you've got all of the blueprint for an incredible 2025. And remember that if you're dreaming of creating your first online course or writing a book or even just starting your freelance career, it all starts with the smallest intentional step. The key isn't to do everything, it's to do the right things consistently. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, because I'm planning on posting a lot more content about freelancing, creativity, and building a business from your passion. So drop me a comment below with your biggest takeaway from this video, anything that you know you're going to try and implement this year, or you can also comment your top goal for 2025. And guys, I read every single comment and I would love to cheer you on. So don't hesitate to leave me a comment. And if you want to start implementing the strategy right away, make sure to grab my 2025 digital planner to help you track your progress and celebrate all of your wins along the way. The link is in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.